What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new Vic Mensa and 93PUNX album called 93PUNX. Now, Vic Mensa is a rapper who's coming out of Chicago, and while he has had a little bit of an up and down career when it comes to making hip-hop music, I actually really did like his last project called The Autobiography. Wasn't a perfect project by any means, but I did think there was some open and honest content on there, as well as some social commentary and decent production. So it wasn't a project that made my year-end list the year that it dropped, but it was a project that I thought was pretty good and maybe even a little bit underrated. I'm not going to get carried away on that, but either way I thought it was pretty good. But over the past year or so, it really does seem like Vic started to rebrand himself. I started to see these pictures where he had extra piercings and tattoos. He was wearing shit like Bebop and Rocksteady from Ninja Turtles, like spiky clothes, just that sort of punk aesthetic. And then he started to do music that kind of matched up with that. He did do a cover of that Cranberries song called Zombie. That shit I thought was awful. The old song, like the original one, is a classic in its own right, but the way that he did it wasn't really anything great. And really this album is just going along with that same type of sound and that look that he has going on. It's just this very awkward, clumsy, and uncomfortable mix of a bunch of genres, from emo to punk to trap to hip-hop, just a bunch of shit that he's blending together, and the shit don't go together. I've said it before, man. It's like opening up your fridge, chucking a bunch of shit in there that doesn't even go together. Maybe even your compost, like you reach in and you pull out some fish bones and put it in there. Maybe you got some rotten iceberg lettuce that you put in there and some old jello and shit, and you mix it all together to make a special batch of dumpster juice, which is exactly what he delivered here. So there are actually some moments on here that reminded me of groups like Blink-182, Sum 41, and Avril Lavigne, and that's not me hating on these artists, because they've done very well for themselves in that genre, and the way that they did it was probably the right way to do it. Whereas what you have with Vic here is a lot of very forced attempts, man. This shit is just clumsier than a giraffe on rollerblades after having a couple of drinks, so you're not going to listen to this and really, get excellent punk pop songs here. It really does just sound like he kind of just started to dabble in this and didn't pull it off too well. Like on the song Definition of a Fuckboy, this shit in particular sounds like some late 90s, early 2000s pop punk to me. This is just a track where Vic is breaking down what the title says. And then with 3 Years Sober, you might have saw the video where he's wearing a Confederate flag dress and a bunch of makeup, because why? I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be edgy or interesting and get people talking. But again, this is the same shit I've been saying through this review already, man. It's just very forced, awkward, and clumsy. I don't know where all this shit came from, but to me it just seems like maybe he's going through some shit or something. I don't know. Vic Mensa usually seems pretty well together, I think, in his interviews and stuff. Like, I don't think he's a dumb guy by any means, but all this wild shit he's doing just kind of seems like it was out of the blue, and I don't think he pulled it off very well. So with that 3 Years Sober song, again, you're getting this blend of genres, this trap and punk mix that is even worse than blending fish guts with Moon Mist ice cream. Another batch of dumpster juice for you from Vic Mensa. And there are awful bars all over this, like he's playing with himself like an accordion, fucking himself and calling it masturbation, choosing kale over pills. I don't know, man. This shit to me just seems like Vic is really trying to go in this completely different direction that he hasn't fully thought out yet. It just seems like this is a mishmash of stuff, and it really wasn't planned properly. On top of all that, we get some emo hip-hop joints. If you like that style of music, maybe you'll like it, but I fucking absolutely hate it. I think it's just garbage. So songs like It's a Bad Dream featuring Good Charlotte, Fine, and I Cry Too, these are just gloomy, insipid tracks with lyrics that sound like they were taken from out of a 14-year-old's diary, man. Just overly dramatic shit, lines about hearts turning gray, everlasting pain, not feeling alright, but it's okay. It's just like some Degrassi High shit, you know what I mean? Maybe even that classic Degrassi Junior High when we had Claude, the poetic guy who killed himself in the bathroom and poor Snake found him. Caitlin was just trying to do the right thing, man. You probably don't remember that. A lot of you guys are young. You probably remember the Next Generation. But if you know Degrassi, I know you appreciate that reference to Claude, because he was kind of on that, sad boy type of shit. So you are getting a lot of that on here. I just found it kind of odd how Vic Mensa is like in his mid-20s, I believe, and he's making this content that is just very immature. Like, I have no problem with songs that deal with depression and heartache and sad feelings and this and that, but I think there's a way to do it where you're actually coming through in an interesting and intriguing type of way, or maybe speaking on it in a profound and poetic way. But a lot of the shit on here is just very simple, to the point, and that songwriting along with this clumsy production really doesn't go over well. Now, another terrible moment comes on Goodbye to Heartbreak, where he's just saying goodbye to everything, like he's taken that classic book Goodnight Moon and remixing it. If you don't know Goodnight Moon, I don't know where you live, man. I think every household had that shit when I was growing up, and I got to get it for my kids, actually, because I don't know why I don't have it, but great book. But in that book, they're saying goodnight to everything. Goodnight moon, goodnight chair, da-da-da-da-da. On this song, though, Vic Mensa is saying goodbye to racism, to rape, to cancer. Just saying goodbye casually, like you would to that neighbor that lives close to you, and, you know, you're not really tight friends, but you see them in the morning as you're both going to work. You're kind of like, goodbye, have a good day or whatever, you know, you don't really care. That's what this song came across as. I thought that shit, again, was forced. These are the words of the day with this project, man. Forced, clumsy, and awkward. I've said it a bunch of times, but that's just really the best way to describe it, so it is what it is. Then you get another forced attempt on United States of Evil with these vocals that just sound trash to me, like they're overly distorted. There's some vocal effects on there. I guess it's supposed to sound like edgy and like rockish and in your face. I thought that shit was terrible. It just makes you want to shove cactuses in your ears, or cacti or whatever. I don't know, you could take a rapier, just one rapier right through if you wanted, or a scimitar or some shit, cut off your ears if you want. Whatever you can do to end the audio suffering, maybe just bleed the noise out of your ears, because that shit was bad. And if I'm being honest, I think really the only half-decent moment on here is Camp America. And don't get me wrong, I still don't love this shit. Again, it kind of has that pop, punk, hip-hop type of feel going on. I just really don't like those genres blending together. I don't think they're done very well at all. Like, I'm probably missing someone. I can't think of someone off top, but most of the time I hear it, I don't like it, including this one. But I did think this song was the least obnoxious of the bunch, and I did appreciate the content about the detention centers in the States, where kids are just being taken away from their parents and being abused. Again, though, he does handle this idea sort of clumsily with some more trash songwriting, like when he says, "Take your clothes off, baby, let me see what you got. We can have a good time if you're legal or not." And I understand that this is coming from maybe the different perspective, maybe of a guard who's fucking around with these kids and people being held there, or the idea of legality in regards to their status or their age. I don't know, but it just really was clumsy. I can't imagine like being in the studio and he says that and everyone's like, "That's good, Vic. You fucking nailed it. That's a good one." That line that might be misconstrued as fucking around with underage girls. There you go. That's great, but I don't know, man. This is awful. I think it's one of the worst things I've heard this year. One of the worst things I've heard in a couple of years. Even worse than Chance the Rapper's album. So I'm going to go with a 1 out of 5 here, man. Clumsy, awkward, forced. Again, those are the words of the day right there. Take it for what it is. You know, like there are teeny tiny moments once in a while where I can see what he was trying to do, but the execution here was just not excellent, man. This definitely was not some Bret Hart level of execution. This shit was like fucking, I don't know, Gilbert, or pick some other jobber from back in the day. But it is what it is, man. Those are my thoughts on this project. Hit me up in the comment section with your thoughts, because I always want to know how you feel. And of course, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.